Hi, my name is Bernie Williams and welcome to that 4x4 show. This week we go on a trip with Conqueror to the Namib Desert Dunes, towing trailers and caravans. We'll also find out if the saying as slow as possible and as fast as is necessary holds any truth. And we also investigate the consequences of fitting accessories to your 4x4. But first, I get to test drive the latest Subaru Forester. So, last night, the geyser decides to go. Washing machine pipe comes out, flooded the house. Damn hardy dars woke me up this morning. Didn't get much sleep. Old war injury, shoulder, not good. But it's a lovely day, and I have this, keys to the Subaru. Meet the latest Subaru Forester XT. It's bigger, smarter, and, well, a little more grown up than before. Although it probably won't win any major design awards, the lines are easy on the eye in a good car next door kind of way. So nothing extravagant that will leave passers-by gasping for breath, but also not bad looking by any means. The XT is the top model in the Forester range, so it gets all the bells and whistles. This includes the very, very nice 18-inch alloy wheels shod with high-performance, high-weight terrain rubber. Now you're probably thinking, but that's a station wagon on steroids that happens to be four-wheel driven. Why do you need them fancy wheels then? That's because this is the turbocharged version, or in English, the Fast Forester. (177 kilowatt, 350 newton meters of torque, all-wheel drive, paddle shift. I call it driver's heaven. So much more about driver involvement, driver enjoyment, sporty handling, and about the subtle burble of the flat-4 engine that breathes through a big old turbocharger. Yet, unlike Subaru Forester turbos of old, it's all refined and composed and classy in the cabin when you step on the loud pedal. In a way, that's probably a good thing in the name of progress and advancement and all that. But in another way, it's not so cool, because the turbos of old used to speak directly to your senses, overwhelming you with its sometimes rude, uncomplicated manners. But that sense of rudimentary motoring bliss apart, the XT covers ground amazingly fast and in a most composed manner. In the corners, it's very good too, with limited body roll and immense grip afforded by the all-wheel drive system, and with a traction and stability control system on guard if the driver runs out of Peter Solbergness in the middle of a corner. Oh yes, and there's also the transmission. It's continuously variable transmission, or CVT. And before you now go, well, that's done it, let me tell you that this is probably the best application of a CVT box we've ever experienced. The engine's power and torque delivery is very well matched to the gearbox, and it offers effortless driving. All in all, despite the fact that the Wild Forester Stallion is now a little bit tamer, it's still a very cool, very sporty drive. This is truly a dynamic handling car on the road because of the all-wheel drive system that this car comes standard with. But Subaru have added something to this vehicle which is called the X mode. Could it be the X factor? Let's find out. Normally when a manufacturer gives us a car to test, they say, guys, please be careful and bring it back in one piece. Okay, granted. But now there's a special request from the guys from Subaru. Please bring this car back dirty. Okay. This is one of the obstacles at the McCarthy 4x4 Club's training track at the Rhino Park complex. It's not impossibly difficult, but the deep ruts can make a soft roader cry if you end up on the wrong line here. So with X mode selected and the Forester's electronics now in an off-road frame of mind, let's see how far we get. Oh, and while we're at it, here's a tip about driving with a traction control equipped car. Once you've committed to the accelerator, you keep your foot there. Give the systems time to do their work. Okay, there you go. Because once you come off the accelerator, it's like pressing the reset button on your computer. and it's pointless because then it's got to do all the calculations again. Clearly the Scooby's road-orientated tyres are not exactly at home here, but the X-Mode system keeps it going upwards. The Forester does have a claimed 220mm ground clearance and plenty of horses, but the approach and departure angles are not suited to serious off-roading at all, except if you don't mind a few dings and scratches. Wheel articulation is also limited, so the wheels lift rather easily off the ground. And this is unfortunately also not ideal if you plan on tackling some rough 4x4 stuff. Well, that wasn't bad, bearing in mind that this is just an all-wheel drive vehicle and that doesn't have a transfer case. But being a Subaru and being all-wheel drive, this should be excellent on gravel. On a gravel road, all the Scooby's great qualities come together in perfect harmony, offering the kind of driving enjoyment that makes you get up in the middle of the night to go and buy that bread that you don't really need. The 177 kilowatt engine, the gearbox with its paddle shifters, the electronic gadgets that make you feel like Peter Solberg, the handling and feel of the machine, it just all feels so right. Just a pity then about the price. The top XT model sells for 530,000 Rand. At least the entry-level, naturally aspirated Forester models sell at more competitive prices, and Subaru can hardly supply enough of these units. But really, who cares about money when you talk Forester XT? It's all inconsequential formalities and the blah-de-blah-de-blah-de details that you can leave to your bank manager to worry about. What geezer? Washing machine, washing machine. Adidas are beautiful, man. That was really fun. Great fun. One of the nice parts of owning a 4x4 is accessorizing and personalizing your 4x4. But you need to be very careful when it comes to choosing those accessories, because sometimes some of those accessories can actually impair your vehicle's off-road capabilities. Accessories. It's always going to be a contentious issue. But here's the question you need to ask yourself. The accessories I'm putting onto my car, are they fashion or are they function? And to demonstrate my point exactly, we have two identical vehicles here. So on the left, we have the McCarthy 4x4 Club's accessorized Toyota Hilux 2.5 D4D 4x4. It is kitted out for overlanding, so it got all the good stuff. From an aftermarket suspension to new front and rear bars, an aluminium canopy, slightly bigger than standard wheels fitted with all-terrain tires, and a few other accessories too. On the right is our myth-busting Toyota Hilux. It's stock standard, except for the maxi nudge bar, the roll bar, and a tow bar. Those trendy side steps are standard, so let's kick off with the side step conundrum then. Here we have something that comes fitted standard with most vehicles that you buy from the manufacturers, and we've had the problem throughout the series where the side runners or the side steps become a real problem when it comes to breakover or crossover angle. It does affect the angle of your obstacle that you can drive over. So here we are going to try and negotiate this obstacle without damaging the side step. So here we can see what the problem is. If we now proceed on our chosen path, we're going to get some excessive damage to the side step. And that's not ideal. As we mentioned, those side steps are standard fitment items, and this Hilux suspension is also stock standard. So let's see how the Hilux with a beefed up suspension, slightly bigger wheels, and the aftermarket rock sliders do at the same obstacle. I think this is kind of self-explanatory. You can see you have so much more space to work with here, and there's no risk of any damage to your vehicle. So in order to make your off-roading so much easier and more fun, it's better to go with something that is purpose-built and that actually gives you added protection to your vehicle. You will see that these rock sliders actually still have adaptation points for high lift jacking as well, so you can actually lift your vehicle up where necessary. Here's something that we probably see on 99% of SUVs or 4x4s that are sold, and it's called a nudge bar. Let me show you quickly what happens when you fit something like this to your vehicle. That is the angle of approach that you would normally have and it's normally about anywhere between 32 and 35 degrees. But the moment you fit this nudge bar to this vehicle, all of a sudden my approach angle now becomes a lot less because this is protruding a lot further forward. So here you see the problem. We already are pressing up against this obstacle we're trying to negotiate. If it was not for this nudge bar, this vehicle in its standard format would have made it up here easily. But now we've taken away from our approach angle. So that's why I'm saying if you want to fit something like this to your vehicle, think about it and think about it long and hard and carefully. Fashion or function? This has got absolutely no function. It is purely a fashion statement. Now here's a bumper that most certainly has a function, all right? Besides enhancing your approach angle, have a look here. We've almost gone up to 40 degrees. So now all of a sudden, this obstacle is no longer a problem. But this has huge function. I can fit spotlights, I can fit a winch, etc. to this vehicle. Just bear in mind, before you fit a bumper like this to your vehicle, that at least it be airbag compatible, so it does not impair the working of your airbags to your vehicle. Make sure you go with a reputable manufacturer. So, the accessorized Hilux obviously fared better here. But now you also have to remember that all those accessories cost extra money. The uprated suspension could set you back as much as 15,000 Rand. The rock sliders will set you back another 7,000. And the front and rear bars without any extra fitted kit will add another 20,000 Rand or so to the deal. So that's substantially more than the maxi nudge bar at just 4,000 Rand. In the end, it depends what you want to do with your 4x4s. When all is said and done, you pay as your monies, your picks, your choices. It is said that the golden rule of off-roading is as slow as possible and as fast as is necessary. But is this really true? The golden rule of off-roading is said to be as slow as possible and as fast as is necessary. But there are some people out there that seem to think that everything you do off-road has got to go with a lot of speed and a lot of enthusiasm. So let's put the theory to test. Okay, so I'm going to be climbing this obstacle as slow as possible. What does that mean? I select low range, I go into first gear, and I quite literally let the vehicle climb the obstacle on the idle. No diff lock engaged yet, not necessary. Terrain doesn't allow for that, or doesn't necessitate that. So just on the idle, I'm going to let this vehicle climb this obstacle. I am now going to attempt this obstacle the way some novices would do it. It's almost that moment where he says, "Scotty, hold my drink, watch this move." If we slow down the action of the two different driving styles, you can see on the left as the wheels lift off the ground and spin. So you don't only run a risk of damaging your vehicle and putting unnecessary stress on the drivetrain, you also leave your mark on the environment through excessive wheel spin. On the right is the idling approach, and as you can see, it's all very calm, very regulated and very safe. And it's so much kinder to your 4x4's drivetrain. The guys from Conqueror took some brave souls with their caravans and off-road trailers to the dunes in Namibia. Let's see how it went. The Namib Desert. In the Nama language, that means the big nothing or vast place. And vast it certainly is. It is said that it covers more than 2,000 kilometers along the Atlantic Ocean coasts of Angola, Namibia and South Africa. It's a place where sand meets sea and where the wildlife has adapted to survive in the harsh, extreme conditions. Some call it the Skeleton Coast because of all the ships that have gone down here, the heavy mist that hugs these shores. It's a place that is dangerous and alluring, challenging yet spectacular. And it's not the kind of place that is kind to 4x4s. You need to have your game face on here, and at times you need to drink a lot of brave pills. Some of the dunes are hundreds of meters high, and conquering them in a 4x4 is a truly amazing thing to do. But one thing you should never ever do is tow a trailer or caravan over these dunes. That would be just impossible, or would it? So here's the thing, if you are a company that manufactures and sells off-road trailers and caravans, and there is a big old sand dune, and some people say you will never ever be able to conquer it with a trailer or a caravan, what are you gonna do? Agree that your vans can't do it, or at least give it your best shot and see how far you get? If your name is Philip de Vries from Conqueror Trailers, you go for the latter. And you get a small group of very brave adventurers to join you. And so in October this year, the group of potential pioneers met up at the Arabush Lodge near Windhoek. From here, they would depart on this hopeless pipe dream. Conqueror had roped in top Namibian guide Eben Delport from Uri Adventures to lead the convoy through the desert. Talking about 4x4s, the convoy consisted of a mixed bag of hardware. There were 2 Toyota Hilux double cab D4Ds, no less than 3 Ford Ranger 3.2 TDCIs were also in it to win it. There was a big Land Cruiser 76 with a powerful V8 D4D diesel engine with another companion in tow, and a new Chevrolet Trailblazer, towing the big daddy of Conqueror off-road caravans, the Commander. There were also 2 Toyota Land Cruiser Prados. Both were V6 petrol versions, but one is a previous generation model and the other the latest one. And no overland trip would be complete without a Landy. And this is a discovery for TD-V6. But enough of that. Let's get the show on the road. The convoy headed west to the Namib, driving the beautiful, spectacular dirt roads that runs through the Kommershoogland via the Gamsberg Pass and the Remhoogte Pass. It was a most dramatic introduction to the wild expanse that is Namibia. But even at this early stage, there were already casualties. The back window on the canopy of one of the Hilux buckies was taken out by a flying rock. Not long afterwards, the rear window of the Chevy Trailblazer followed suit. And the group was not even in the dunes yet. After setting up camp near the Namib, the slightly apprehensive group tucked in early. The next day would be a big one, with quite a few sand dunes to conquer. The big day had arrived, and tour leader Eben Delport kicked it off with a drive down the dry Kusip River to get a feel of the sand driving business with a 1.5 ton in tow. And then the first meek and mild dunes arrived. Eben always introduces his guests to the Namib's dunes via these smaller, less intimidating heaps of sand. And there goes the powerful V8 Cruiser. And there stops the powerful Cruiser. And there goes the powerful Cruiser, and there stops the powerful Cruiser. Ditto with the Trailblazer and the Prado. Thing is, it's all about adjusting to the different driving styles required to haul a heavy trailer up the sand dunes. Here, momentum is king, and instead of first and second gear low range, third, fourth and fifth gears are more the business. It does require a mind shift in how you drive off-road though. And there goes the Cruiser. And the Prado. Yep, the drivers are learning fast. Interesting though, the double cab buckies didn't seem to struggle so much at the initial stages, but their time will come too. And so the convoy arrived at the first camping site after a day spent learning and adjusting how to negotiate a large heap of sand with a 4x4 and a trailer. Conqueror Connections' Vivian Torlaga sums up the day.
Everybody did extremely well. We are here, everybody is here. So first thing I'm going to do now is start up the geyser, so the ladies can have a nice warm shower. And meanwhile, I'll definitely take one from the cooler box.
The group was now in the dunes proper, and time for M&R was now gone. And soon there was an issue, and it was a Toyota Hilux.
Something wrong with it, just put a new radio. That's all, there's nothing wrong with the engine.
This day proved to be a tough one for everyone. 4x4 and trailer getting stuck. 4x4 and trailer are recovered, and again and again. 4x4s and trailers become airborne. 4x4s and trailers made very, very scary descents down slip faces. Tires were debeaded. 4x4s got stuck on dunes, and generally it was just a most spectacular day in the most spectacular Namib Desert. Amazingly though, despite numerous recoveries, the convoy kept on moving with those trailers in tow. So finally, they arrived at the next camp. It was a long day, but it was a good day. The next day was, well, a play day. With the vans left at the camp, the adventurers got to play in the sand with only the 4x4s. And did they play, and did they have fun? As Eben showed them all the sights and sounds of this remarkable place they call the Namib Desert. All good things must come to an end though, and on the final morning, the Conqueror trailers were hooked up as the convoy departed for the Atlantic Ocean and a ride on the sand next to the ocean. It was a fittingly amazing end to the trip. Oh, but wait, there were still a few big dunes to conquer too. And this particular slip face gave the drivers one last mini heart attack.
Safe for walking, I think.
But they all made it through in the end. It was a remarkable feat and a very first for Uri Adventures. Some said it would not be possible, but the Conqueror group showed that it certainly is possible. All you need is a tough Conqueror van, capable and powerful 4x4, and lots of brave pulls combined with a well-trained right foot. Tour leader Eben Delport concludes.
Gradually, they get into the hang of it, and by yesterday they were driving like pros. And really, I think the whole idea and the trailers didn't hamper them to the extent that we thought that it could. So yeah, I think all in all, I think it's a great success, and it was great fun.
Now that was really impressive stuff, man. And if you have the urge to join us on one of these Namib Desert trips, here's something I can tell you. Once you get the Namib Desert sand between your toes, you never get it out again. That's all for this week, folks. Thank you for joining us. Same time, same place next week. Next week, we'll take you down memory lane and some history of the 4x4. In the meantime, please keep left and pass right. Catch all the latest motoring news in Leisure Wheels magazine. If you want more information about that 4x4 show, find us on Facebook. There you will also find more information about that 4x4 trip in conjunction with Leisure Wheels magazine. That 4x4 show brought to you by Bridgestone, your journey, our passion.